Hello everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Topic today is how to thrive and survive on a fixed income. Now, I know this is a very delicate subject, and it was inspired for me by one of you. Someone wrote me a comment based on an article about retirement, and she said, I need to retire, but I cannot afford it. What do I do? Now, she was obviously still working, so my reply would have been, what job are you doing? How could you turn that into a part-time business? I mean, I could start to think of all kinds of ways that this person could increase their income and, move into retirement. But I realized that that was not going to solve the problem for her because I'm sure it was complex, but also it could be of value to other people. Now, in a way, anybody who is retired or is in that pre-retirement stage is living on a fixed income. We know that our income is going to be, not increasing if we're not working and getting bonuses and whatever else you do as you're working in the workplace. We're all working in a way in a framework where we have limited funds. And not everybody has got savings, not everyone has got a pension to pull from. So everybody's circumstances are different. So I'm not going to try to make a blanket conversation here about what to do and how to thrive on a fixed income. If you're simply living month to month, which is many people are. Now, this culture today is very, very difficult and dangerous. There's not any end in view to the recessions or the inflation that's going on all over the world. Things are costing more. It's just like, you just cannot live for the same amount that you did, 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. Things are getting really difficult in this economic climate around the world. Now, I empathize with this 1,000,000%, and I really want to be constructive. I don't want to be, sort of abstract and, oh, you can try this or try that or start a blog or starting a business or things that I know for a lot of people just are not realistic solutions. So what are some of the challenges that you're all facing if you're on a fixed income? Well, of course, the basics. I mean, there is medical expenses. Now, as you get older, things happen. I had my gallbladder removed. I was very fortunate. Well, I made a good decision that I had insurance coverage, and it was helpful. But medical bills are probably one of the largest reasons that people are dealing with financial difficulties. I mean, financial problems in general, emergencies that come up as you get older. Inflation, as I've mentioned, and unexpected expenses that you didn't ever anticipate. This can happen, and this is what getting older is all about. This is a reality for us, and it's huge. It's really, really big. Now, I was doing some research, and a report by the Gerontology Institute at the University of Massachusetts in Boston said that 54%, that number, 54% of women over 65 living alone in the U.S. are economically insecure. Now, those were their words, but 54% of women over 65 are dealing with some kind of financial insecurity. They do not have enough income to afford their local cost of living, wherever that might be, and it changes from state to state, of course. And I'm talking about the states now primarily because 70% of our 60 and Me community are in the United States. But this is true in Europe. This is true in South America, Mexico. This is everywhere. This is an issue. So if you don't have enough income to just pay for the basic things, mortgage or rent, if you're renting, food, medical insurance, just internet. I mean, I say that as a priority because the internet really can be a lifesaver in so many ways. So your phone, your phone or your communications expenses. I mean, even just those basic things can really, if you live in most parts of the States, you have to drive. There's not public transportation that's so available as it is in Europe. But that's another expense, a car, a vehicle, even if you're riding a little scooter or a bicycle, all that costs money. So what to do? First things. Now, I know this is going to sound a bit like Margaret's going over the basics I already know, but trust me, I'm going to do, as we get further into this, we're going to talk about some specific places and things you can do, opportunities that you might want to explore. But the first thing, and I mean, I can't emphasize this enough because it's really the basics, which is have a budget. Review your current expenses and review your income. Look at everything that's coming in, whether it's your pension, benefits, you're pulling from savings, whatever you're doing. What is your income? What is your outgoing? What are your outgoings? And these are the outgoings that are livable outgoings, your rent, your food, all that kind of thing. Create a detailed budget. And I think the important thing to remember here is that small changes Small changes can make a big difference. And I know when you're not financially secure, you have temptations to just to feel good. I mean, you have to get through some really tough months sometimes where you're literally putting things on, guess what? Credit cards. You have no choice. Now, this is really, really challenging, but maybe it also means that you have that extra treat, or you buy some alcohol, or you buy something just to calm your nerves. You need a massage. You know, maybe there's some of these things that are related to your physical situation, but there are some small changes that you can make in your daily habits that create substantial, significant savings over time. But that's the basics. That's the budget. Now, when you've done that and you realize that you actually don't have enough to pay the rent, can you think about some things? Can you think about relocating? Is where you are right now just too expensive for you to live? Did you have a partner who's died, or a friend that's left, was a roommate, and then you're by yourself in a bigger house? Could you possibly sell the house or the apartment and move into a single room? I live in a studio. I live in one room, partly for this reason. Where I'm living, I cannot afford a bigger house. So I have to rent what I can afford. And that is a one room space. Now, it may sound awful if you've got a 3-bedroom house now and you're used to that and it's where you've lived all your life. It's challenging. I get it. I totally get it. But if by relocating to a new house, apartment, room, or moving cities, you may be living in a very expensive place that you lived all your lives and you do not want to move. But if you can't afford it, maybe there's some opportunity to relocate your house, move it to a lower area. Even within your own city, you might be able to find something, or your area, your state. But another thing is to consider home sharing. Now, there's lots of women that are doing this now, and there are some very good online sites. I know that there used to be one Silverline, and there used to be boomers, renters for boomers. And there's one in the States called Cohabitas, or in the UK called Cohabitas, where you can rent a room. It may not be what you want. It may not be what you have always desired, which you feel like your life is a complete failure because you can't do what you want. You can't live where you want. But it's real, and you've got to make a decision. Maybe you can just move in with someone, or the reverse of that is bring someone into your house, have a roommate. And I know that sounds scary, and there's certainly ways you can talk to local people to find in your particular area what the local resources are for home sharing, and there are lots of them. Even some churches and other community groups have a structure for sharing with someone your age. Older women are all. We're in this together. You may just find a really cool person that you get along with. And, if not, you've got a room that you can share. They maybe have a shared bathroom. And of course, you can do Airbnb, or some of those, if you're a little bit more adventurous and you're ready for a little bit of a challenge, you can always rent a room or rooms with Airbnb. So, that's another, or booking.com. That's another option to consider. So that's kind of your downsizing your house. And then there's downsizing your stuff. That's another thing. Social Security and pension benefits, you've got to make sure that you understand. If you're 62 right now, you can actually claim Social Security. You can start based on your the job that you've done. If you're not working, if you are ready to do that, you'll get less money than if you wait until you're 70. It's a significant monthly increase if you can hold on and not take out your Social Security until you're 70. I'm not going to talk too much about part-time work and passive income, because everybody will say, I can't do that. I'm just not interested in doing a blog or doing a sort of consultancy work or something that I can charge for, but it's an option. Consider it an option. No one can ask you your age on the internet, right? They can, but you can be the product of your skills, your intelligence, with the service that you've got to offer. And there are lots of work from home jobs that you can do. There's lots of resources online that you can actually follow up on. Now, I'm going to get to the practical things, the specifics in a second, but just one more point about government and community. You have got things going on in your community to help you. Make sure that you know all of them, and that you know where you can go to take advantage of them. You don't have to say, there must be something that can help me. Well, there may not be, but it's worth checking, worth asking. Now, I took an example. It's warm today. I get so excited about this topic because I really feel like I want to help, and I want to be specific and not just abstract. But for example, I took New York, for example. Now, New York may not be the best example, but it's an example. You can go and look on your state and see what your state does. But they have Social Security benefits, of course, Medicare. Now, Medicare is really tricky, and I know that there's far more expert people talking about Medicare than I am. So make sure you understand and take advantage of your Medicare your Medicare option. Now, in New York, they've got something called Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, which is for helping with food expenses. They've got the Home Energy Assistance Program, or HEAP, which helps manage energy costs. I know this for sure. In the UK, you can do this. You've got lots of more benefits and PIP. What do they call that? The ones for people with certain physical medical situations that they can get increased benefits. But in the UK, you've got a lot of coverage. But in New York, back to New York, you've got the Senior Citizens Housing. Sorry, I got this right. That was HEAP for energy. Then the Senior Citizens Homeowners Exemption, which is for reducing the property tax burden, and then the Elderly Pharmaceutical Insurance Coverage, EPIC, which helps seniors to pay for prescription drugs. Now, that's just in New York, and that's probably not all of them. And before you come in comments and say there's nothing like this in my neighborhood or my city or state, I know, I'm just literally giving you some inspiration that you might want to check out locally with your government offices what there might be in your your area, in your city or your local area. Just check it out. New York may be an example that is not useful for you if you live in South Carolina or in Nebraska, but or any other part of the country. But it's an example that there are other groups and agencies that are there to help seniors with these costs: food, energy, healthcare, and housing. So another thing, of course, I'll mention briefly is checking out a financial advisor to talk to. Don't go to a financial advisor who is selling insurance and reverse mortgages and whatever, annuities. You want to talk to a financial advisor who is they call them fiduciaries. And these fiduciaries charge you by the hour. They're not trying to sell you anything. Their job is to actually listen to your situation and help you come up with a plan. Now, maybe this is, again, it's supported by local funding so that you don't have to pay for it, because it may be $100 or something to talk to someone like that. But if you're going to go to a financial advisor, they can do like a tailored, personalized plan for you, which is really important. Now, this is just a start. I need your feedback. I'm going to do another article on this another few days or another week about living the lifestyle changes that you can make, maybe reinforce them a little bit more and go into more depth. But if you are on a fixed budget and a fixed income, fixed money coming in, it's not an income, I guess it's, if you're on a fixed income, please tell me how you're coping. Things you do in your house to save money. Tips and tricks, life hacks that you've discovered that help you to save, how to get more with your money, where you shop, what you do in your neighborhood to share, how you team up with others in your community, other older women to support each other, or even buy food together, or what kinds of things you're doing. But I really honestly would love to have your feedback. So go ahead and leave your comments below. Know that I'm speaking from my heart here. I really genuinely want to be of assistance and just maybe help myself as well. I mean, we're all doing our best to make the most with our money and live a good life and be happy and healthy. That's the most important thing. So look forward to reading your comments. I know it's a long video, but I hope it's been useful. Please take care. Know that you're loved. Know that I'm here for you and that we're here for each other. Okay. Check us out on Patreon if you want to support this group that's a little bit more personal, but also our other channels. We're everywhere and here to be by your side. Go out into the world and be safe and strong. Okay. Love you.